The government has moved to effectively sack the leadership of the dysfunctional Health Services Union, once headed by controversial Labor MP Craig Thomson. The Workplace Relations Minister is asking the federal court to appoint an administrator to run the HSU East branch in the latest attempt to distance the government from damaging allegations against past and present HSU officials. And the government wasn't alone in moving to defend its reputation, with sidelined Speaker Peter Slipper tonight releasing what he claims is evidence that will clear him of potential criminal charges. Political correspondent Tom Iggulden reports from Canberra.
Mr Slipper stood aside as Speaker pending a criminal fraud investigation into claims he handed out blank taxpayer-funded cab charge vouchers to a friend. Tonight he's released copies of several vouchers which he says shows he filled them out himself and that he's innocent of the fraud allegations.
I'm not a handwriting expert. The authorities will sort this matter out once and for all.
Mr Slipper's vowed to return to the Speaker's chair if and when he beats the criminal allegations against him, even as civil claims of sexual harassment continue. He's denied those allegations too, but pressure's mounting on him to continue to stay off the Speaker's chair until they're done with too.
My concern is the status of the chair, the speakership, within the Parliament and how valuable it is to the institution.
The Prime Minister's taking a different view.
When we look to the history of the Parliament, we can see a clear set of precedents where people have continued to function in their office while the subject of civil matters.
Others in the government are worried about the nature of those matters in Mr Slipper's case.
In terms of the government's view, sexual harassment is completely unacceptable at any level.
But the Minister says he's not contradicting the Prime Minister.
I haven't seen what she said, but let me say I support what it is that she said.
Hang on, you haven't seen what she said?
But I support what my Prime Minister said, so...
Well, what's your view?
Well, my view is what the Prime Minister's view is. There should be no tolerance for sexual harassment. That's my view. On the other hand, these matters have yet to be established, and I support what our Prime Minister has said.
But you don't know what that is?
Oh, I'm sure she's right.
There was better message coordination from the Minister today on another matter. He's moving to have the federal court appoint an administrator to run the troubled East branch of the Health Services Union.
This is a most serious and grave action.
A very serious and grave step.
An administrator is a very good circuit breaker.
We are supporting this action of the government based on the fact that we now need a circuit breaker.
Senior HSU official Cathy Jackson's been leading her own campaign against the current union leadership.
I would hope that the warring Jackson-Williamson groups would actually recognise that an administrator is a good step forward.
And Ms Jackson has herself called for the appointment of an administrator, but not like this.
This is not about putting an administrator in place that suits Bill Shorten. And he wants to make sure that he ends up in a position where he controls his union personally. Not as the minister, personally, and that's what I'm offended about.
Other branches of the HSU are tonight understood to be joining the government's action against the East branch. The opposition leader says the move's more evidence the government's protecting former HSU boss Craig Thomson, now a Labor MP.
What does the government know about the Health Services Union that it wants to put it into administration for? What misuse of money, what maladministration, what potentially criminal activity is the government aware of?
A Fair Work Australia report on financial irregularities at the branch during Mr Thomson's leadership's due to be handed to a Senate committee next month. But his lawyer's attempting to block moves for it to be made public.
The issue of the report being made public by a Senate committee brings into play the sub judice convention of the Australian Parliament, which says that the committee should not release the report if the release is likely to prejudice criminal or civil court proceedings.
And the government appears to agree.
The report should and could only be released so long as it doesn't jeopardise civil and criminal charges. We owe that to the members of the Health Services Union.
This is all messy stuff for a government trying to project a clean image and keep the focus on the economy with the budget just around the corner. Tom Iggulden, Late Line.